Hey friends, I hope the morning's treating you well. Hope you got your coffee if you drink coffee. I just woke up. I'm a little bit groggy, and I'm out here feeding squirrels peanuts. I don't know if you can see those or not. I come out and immediately get attacked by the squirrels, and I even got a look. That's a three beaner. There's three peanuts in there. I was just talking to Amy, and she reminded me of a story that I think you guys might enjoy hearing. Way back when I was just trying to get some things going, trying to tour, just really just when you're at the bottom end of the DIY world, you end up playing some of the most imperfect gigs, and you're just doing whatever you can to get it going. Well, there used to be this book. Some of my friends in hardcore bands and punk rock bands told me about this book. It was Book Your Own Effing Life, and it was not called effing. And it was a resource. It had all of these different people who hosted house parties, basement parties. There'd be promoters in odd spaces, just all kinds of different gigs that you could play. Very imperfect gigs, but that was the whole idea. It was an underground, it was a true underground of people wanting to, to do things outside the normal means. And punk rock bands and hardcore bands would tour all across the country and even overseas using this as a resource. There was a whole patchwork. And it became a website called BYOFL.com. It might even still be up, I don't know. But this was a long time ago. And when I became aware of it, I thought, man, what a great idea. That's really cool, that there's this whole idea of underground has always appealed to me, of people doing things outside of, I don't know, part of what attracts me to this world is I've never, ever liked the idea of asking some company permission to do something. I can write a song. I can go stand in front of people. There doesn't have to be some company in between us that says, okay, you have permission to do it. Some big multinationalist conglomerate, just a little bit of a gatekeeper that allows you to do that. You can go play in somebody's basement for your friends and have fun. Your friends just might happen to be on the other side of the country or on the other side of the world, but you can go do that. And that was the whole idea. And that world, I was attracted to that world, more of an ideology that has always been part of, that just rings true to me in a lot of ways. And so anyway, it's a little easier when you're younger and you're willing to sleep on strangers' couches and stuff like that. That's a lot of what that world was. But anyway, this particular website, I remember looking at it and thinking, I don't know that this really applies to me, like musically at all or whatever. But as I start going through and seeing different opportunities, we'll say, available, and opportunities, sometimes I'm using that as that might not be the most accurate term for some people. There's a buddy of mine who played in a hardcore band, and he said that when he decided he was done, he'd been on some tour, some big long tour, and playing in people's basements and houses, and the very last date on the tour, they were supposed to get a couple $100. They played some gig, and the guy said, well, we don't have any money, but and he had these bags of cans, like recycling, aluminum cans recycling, had a lot of bags of those. He said, well, these are worth some money. You can get some money if you take these. So he fills up the van with these bags of smashed up recycled aluminum. And he says, that was it, man. It was the final straw. I got paid in trash, and I decided to hell with it. And he's a lawyer now and does really well. But anyhow, I get on this website. I'm looking around trying to find like gigs that might be appropriate for me. And there's this whole world of the Ani DeFranco world that kind of existed alongside this hardcore thing. There were a lot of people in this DIY world that would put on acoustic gigs, maybe not too many. And I was trying to fill a date between, I can't remember where I was coming from. It was somewhere kind of south of Indianapolis or whatever. So I was kind of coming up south of Kansas City, I think it would be true, out to Colorado. And I needed to fill a date. And I looked, and there was a coffee shop, or I'm sorry, a bookstore in Pittsburgh, Kansas. And I was like, that sounds pretty good, man. They said they did acoustic shows. So I emailed the person, and they get back to me, and they're all excited about putting on a gig. And I'm like, all right, we're in business. So we talk over a couple days, go back and forth, and they're real excited about it. And we go ahead and say, the date's happening, everything's cool. So about a month before the date happens, I send an email just checking back in. They don't answer it. The next week, I send another email just checking back in. They don't answer it. And I started sending more emails. Hey, man, this thing's coming up. It's just 10 days away. Want to make sure everything's cool on your end. I'm looking forward to it. And they don't answer. And like leading up, I started sending one every day before I took off, and they just completely went silent after agreeing to do the gig and the terms of the gig and all of that stuff. And I'm like, all right, obviously this thing is not happening. So I'm driving in my car, and I'm somewhere south of Kansas City. I remember driving along, and I'm thinking about this kid. It was a guy, and just thinking about it, and I don't remember his name. We'll say Tommy. I have no idea what his name was. Tommy. It was definitely a guy. It was a very young guy, and seemed like he was probably 18 or 19 years old and worked there and was in charge of putting on shows at this bookstore. And I'm driving along, and I'm just thinking about it. And I got to get to Colorado, but I got this off day that I never filled. And as I got closer to Pittsburgh, Kansas, I was like, you know what, man? Let's stop in and talk to Tommy and see how he's doing. And so I come walking in, much younger, much younger, no gray in the beard and all of that. And I walk up to the counter, and there's a young guy standing there, and he says, "Can I help you?" And I say, "Yeah. Is Tommy here?" And he goes, "I'm Tommy." I said, "Well, Tommy, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Otis Gibbs, and man, you would think that this guy just saw a ghost, swallowed bleach, or whatever. He was trying so hard to not be there in that moment at all, and he looked a little bit terrified. I just kind of stood there smiling, and he's like, and I'm like, "Yeah, Tommy, how you doing, man? I ain't heard from you in a while." And I don't know, I was nice to him. I was nice, but I remember saying something like, "I just want you to know, man, when you agree to do a gig and something comes up and you can't do it now for whatever reason, just tell somebody. Just tell them it's okay." I said, "But you got to realize there's a real life person on the other end of that email, and I just happened to be that person, and I wanted to come in here so you could see that there's a real life person." And he was just like all apologies, like, "I'm so sorry, man, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "It's all right. I'm not like a tough guy or nothing or whatever, but I don't have a problem with just saying things to people, And I was like, "Well, I just want to, it's really nice to meet you, Tommy, and I wish you all the best. And, if you decide to agree to do any more shows in the future, maybe you ought to go ahead and do them or pull out of it or something, but just communicate with people." And I drove on to Colorado with a big grin on my face. And then I forgot about it. Well, I stopped. I never used that website ever again. It's a great idea. I can only imagine the trouble that it probably had caused people over the years. It probably, there's probably some great experiences that people had and great tours that were born of it. And And maybe there was a lot of people that were taught that they don't want anything to do with this music life, and they went on and became lawyers or whatever. So that might be the best service that it ever provided. But I forgot about that for years. And I think I saw something. What did I see? I saw something a few weeks ago about Pittsburgh, Kansas. And I was just like, man, that's familiar. What the hell's Pittsburgh, Kansas? And I was thinking about it. And then I finally remembered, and I told Amy that. And she's just like, oh my gosh. This is way before I knew Amy. And then she reminded me of it. So I figured I would tell you guys as I'm all groggy. And I hope things are good with you guys. I need to get rid of this 3-bean or 3-peanut, shell thingy here, and give them to the squirrels. And I'm going to go on inside. I'm going to put a link in the top comment down below to Amy's song, Bearded Iris, on Spotify. It's really good stuff, and I want to make sure it's been doing really well on there when you consider that it started from 0. It's up to 5,000 plays, and she had literally 2 monthly listeners because she never put any trouble to it. It's up over 2,000. So just mentioning it and trying, go figure, just trying has made a difference, and it's a great start. So I'll put the link down below so you guys can check that out. Oh, how you doing, buddy? There's Nicky coming for another. He's coming for another peanut. I'll put that link down below, and also I will put a link up here to the video in case you want to see it. So go watch that video, and I will see you guys. That's the video of Amy doing her song Bearded Iris off of her new album, Flatland Blossoms. And I will see you guys somewhere down the road, and I think that's it. Stay off those websites, and if you go to promote a gig, or if you go to play a gig in Pittsburgh, Kansas, make sure that the promoter's not named Tommy. All right, much love to y'all.